Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Friday. TGIF. I'm so excited to talk to you tonight. Let me know that you are here. If you can see and hear me, type your where you're tuning in from in the chat so I can see that. I'm also going to share this to my page real quick. Okay, where is my? There we go. So let's do that. All right. So if you're in the chat, I see people are joining in, logging in. Let me know where you are connecting from. Put your city, state, or country in the chat. I am so excited about tonight. But first, I just want to check in and see, how are you guys doing? Oh, there you guys are in the chat. Hey, Michelle in DC, Sarah down the street in South Carolina, Reiki Radio Podcast, The Energetic Alchemist. Is that Yolanda? Dion Jones, Age with Vibrancy is in Ohio. Lanita is in Ridgeland, South Carolina. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I see people are coming in the room. Hey, Shauna in Maryland. Zoe in Chesapeake, Virginia. Zoe in Chesapeake. Crystal in South Carolina. Leslie in North Carolina. All the Carolinas are in here deep. I think these are a lot of moms people. And some of mine. Denise and Beaufort, Kathy and Beaufort, South Carolina. Helen Douglas, our Reiki master lineage in DC, Karen and Beaufort, South Carolina. Moms people are up in here deep. All right. So I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time, but first I want to always just check in. See, how are you guys doing? What's going on? How are you feeling? There's been a lot of intense energy going on. Hey, Sela in Minneapolis, Liz and Sela. Yep. So let us know, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Drop it in the chat. Also, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask everybody to do this favor for me. Click the share button. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, share and invite your friends because you know this is going to be a juicy conversation. And if you love your people, you'll bring them into the conversation now instead of, girl, you should have been on the live stream, right? Bring them in now. So hit that share button on your social media page. Text your friends, tell them to come on in, give them that link. Hey, Catherine in New Mexico, and Miranda in Beaufort, South Carolina, Kristen in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. The other Crystal says, the energy has been intense. I've been navigating by staying inward. I hear that. Lanita says, bringing the light. Taylor Parker from Maryland, good evening, good evening. All right, so how are you guys sleeping? Hey, Adrian in New York City. How are you guys doing? How are you guys sleeping? Do you feel grounded? And I was about to say maybe we'll do a couple of grounding breaths before we begin, but then I was like, why would I be doing that when mom is the one who taught me how to do grounding breaths? So I'll do that when she gets on here. She's here. I just haven't brought her in the room yet. Okay. Kathy said, I'm feeling good, but looking for what I should be doing. Ooh, okay. That's good. How about less doing, more being? Elizabeth, Liz from Philly, go Birds. Okay, just because you beat DC, my home team, and you're going to the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Nicole King, that's my god sister in Montebello, New York. Sarah says, sleep. What is the S word you speak of? Yeah, my sleep pattern has been a little different in the last couple of days, definitely. Latana says sleeping is terrible. Okay. Is it stress or restlessness or just what is it? Elizabeth said, I love DC though. So I put some of the comments up on the screen. So I'm just checking and I'm asking everybody how they're doing. If you're just getting here, I have an extra special guest tonight. I'll bring her on in a moment, but this is something I've been so looking forward to. And it's been a long time since we had my mom on the live stream. Elizabeth said Jaden Daniels is the man. Zoe says like a baby for the most part, sleeping. Natural Evil, hey from Virginia. Adrian said not sleeping at all. Crystal said my pattern has shifted, grounding in this new energy, and my sacral chakra has been doing flips. Yes. Lanita says easy to go to sleep, but hard to stay asleep. Okay. All right. I was just checking in with y'all. So, just for the new folks, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Jamila White. I'm a psychic, intuitive life coach, author, and leader of transformational retreats for energy sensitive women. And from time to time, I do live streams. Sometimes I do live readings on the live stream. Sometimes I have a guest. Sometimes I'm just in here talking to y'all. But I am so delighted that you all have decided to join us on a Friday night when you could be so many other places. If you are on the replay, if you're listening on the replay, type replay in the chat. So if you have missed the live recording and are on the replay, hit replay in the chat. Catherine says, I do everything I can to help, and I have to watch losing my natural rhythm. Yes. Dion said, my sinuses are catching heck. Kathy said, you're looking good. Thank you, Kathy. I get it from my mama. Elizabeth says not sleeping, not finding, not scrolling through social media and keeping away from intense, serious material, TV, books, etc. It helps a lot. Yeah, same here. Same here. I'm really, in general, just because I'm energy sensitive and so on and so forth, I generally am very, very intentional about what media I consume and when. I turn off all notifications on my phone and I go and check in when I want to go, not when the phone tells me to go. And then I'm very intentional. I mostly watch streaming programs and not live programs. Exception being, I will sit and watch live Jeopardy with my mom because that is her thing, and we enjoy doing that together. Mm. But anyway, let's get to the real deal. Let's get to the real deal. I know you. I know who you came to see. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis, as in Jamila. Y'all came to see Miss Ifetayo, Mama Ifetayo. All right, let me get her up on here. And first, I'm going to read to you. She's going to laugh while I'm reading this. I'm going to read to you her bio, the official bio, and then I'm going to tell you some things. So, Ifetayo White is a transformational healing practitioner and a Reiki master teacher, my Reiki master teacher, who is the founder and director of the Low Country School of Reiki, Choices Birthing and Wellness Support, and Nisa's Home on St. Helena Island, South Carolina, right here where we are. A community elder, parent, grandparent, friend, and professional, she continues to devote herself to the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual growth of herself and others. As a longtime meditation practitioner and instructor, Ifetayo has offered countless meditation sessions for children and adults in person at events and during virtual workshops. To round out her life, Ifetayo enjoys spending time with her family and friends, writing, watching movies, crafting, beach walking, swimming, and being in nature as much as possible. Also, I want to add her new thing is sourdough bread baking. That is her thing, and I am enjoying being the taste tester. Ifetayo graduated from Howard University in 1967 with a BA in Russian language and area studies. She has been certified in massage therapy, reflexology, acupressure, metaphysical spiritual practices, Reiki 1, 2, 3, master level, doula birth support, wellness support, and has received many, many, many hours in training in mental health theory and practice, especially around trauma and abuse support. That's the official bio, but let me also tell you what I know. Ifetayo is the healer's healer. She is the teacher's teacher, and she is the Reiki master's Reiki master. She's the one that the healers come talk to and learn from. She's also, and these are my words, not her. She's a medical intuitive. She is an intuitive. Everything you like about me, you get it. I get it from my mom. Someone said in the chat, Russian. Yeah, yes, she was translating Russian documents in the 60s. Girl, that's a whole other story. And she has she's not just my mom, but she's my teacher, not just of Reiki. And things I know about living free, the things that I live, the prioritization of my joy and my peace, and how I teach others, I get that from mom. I learned from the best. And so without further ado, I bring to you Miss Ifetayo White. She's coming on the screen right now. Hey, Mom. How are you?
Lafia.
I can't hear you. Where's your audio?
Oh no, my audio's not on.
What happened to your audio?
I don't know.
Oh, now you're on. Okay, there you are. Maybe you weren't close enough to the mic, but now I hear you.
Awesome.
Okay, get closer to the mic so I can hear all your words.
Closer to the mic.
There you go, closer to the mic. And let me also tell you, Mom is turning 80 next month. She's fabulous. Fabulous. Look at all of these comments in here. Everybody's like, yay. People are saying queen. People are commenting. Greetings, mama. Yes. Everybody says hello. Ifetayo is the queen. Dion says Cheryl. Nicole King says yay. Kathy says hi. Okay, awesome. Oh, I love it. Rukia is in here. Hey, Vanessa, Akeisha. Oh, all these new people in here. Agent says she looks phenomenal. You both do. Thanks. I get it from my mom. All right. So, mom, is there anything that you want to? And hi, Mood. Mama Mood is in here too. Is there anything that you want to say about who you are and what you do before we just get into it? Because well, there's a couple things that came up. I just did on Sunday a teaching around the intuition of your womb. And at the same time, you already had some things coming up, which we'll talk about later, some events already planned. And I'm just like, there's this week is very, for me, very womb focused in these conversations and these teachings and these learnings and all of that. Um, Slide a little bit to the middle of your camera a little bit because you're off to the side when we're both on the screen. Just yeah, there you go. Perfect. And so is what do you want to first of all say hi to the people and what do you want to say about who you are? And then we'll get into the womb stuff.
Lafia,
Where's
hello,
your audio?
greeting.
Is it
I
me?
don't, honey, I don't know what to say.
Mm. Just
Can
go
you
ahead.
hear?
Just keep going. I
Because
hear you
some
now. It might
Crystal,
be me.
yeah, it might be you. Crystal said she heard me. Um, I'm delighted to be here. I started my day with Yolanda, who's on the line. Same outfit, Yolanda, different location. Um, and I'm ending with Jamila. I can't believe this one day. But I believe in the power of the womb. I
Mhm.
believe in the power of our ability to create, to expand, to elevate from our womb space. And so I'm just living it right this minute. And from being interviewed in the morning for a podcast, Reiki podcast, to being live streamed with my beautiful daughter, my baby girl, Jamila.
And your favorite child, your
Oh
favorite.
my God, please don't even go there.
I'm playing. I'm playing. Is Sydney on the chat? My sister is Sydney. She's not here. In that case, yes, I am. I am. Okay.
And then you have to contend with all the daughters out in the community.
Well,
That's
I'm not
a
even talking about them. We just talking about your birth daughters because mom is literally mama
Mhm.
to probably over 100 people, over 100 women over the years, more than.
Yeah.
She mentors so many people. And I don't just mean people say, oh, auntie, whatever. Like people really, she is their mother figure and spiritual mom, plus my niece and nephew, your grandchildren, and all of that.
And
So,
Nicole, my goddaughter, on
and
the
Nicole, your
on
goddaughter,
the
who's
line.
in here in the chat, and her friend Lisa Silvera is in here too.
And I want to pay homage to Helen Tony Douglas, who's on this call. She was my first Reiki master, who gifted me Reiki for my 50th birthday. I'm almost 80. So how 30 years ago, March and 1995. So Helen Tony, I honor you, I value you, I love you forever.
Hi, Helen Tony. She's in here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Helen
Um,
Tony.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I do want to acknowledge that she was one of the first Black Reiki practitioners out of DC. We had a whole community in the 80s, and Helen Tony was in the beginning and
Mhm.
one of the first Black Reiki teachers in the country, also. So just want to
Yes.
say that. Yeah,
Yes. And she's part because she's your teacher. She's part of my lineage as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm looking at all these people commenting. There's so many on the screen because I'm looking at the comments for both YouTube and Facebook on the same screen. And it is people are just really excited to see you. And Helen Tony says thank you. It's yeah, I'm put her comment up on the screen. Hi, yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
Helen. I gotcha.
So I want to start off because we're going to cover a lot of different topics. Uh, what is for everybody who's new to it? What is the significance of womb and womb healing? Why are we talking about this so much right now? What? How is? what is the womb more than a biological, organ? Why does this matter right now? Why should we be paying attention to our wombs?
Wow, that's an expansive question, and it deserves an expansive answer. Those of us who have been sensitive, who are sensitive, and who are, also have been paying attention to the universal rhythms, understand that 2025 denotes a shift in the energy of the planet. And even though we are witnessing a lot of aggression and other types of energy in the world, this is like a last ditch of that patriarchal male energy that has ruled um, for half half of 3600 years, whatever that is.
1800.
1800, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're switching to 3600 is a completion.
Mm-hmm. Like
So
360 degrees. Yeah.
we have been living in 1800 years of masculine energy, and I don't mean divine male. I mean the patriarchal masculine energy, and we are literally living in a time of the switch into the next 1800 years, and
Mm-hmm.
that the primary vibration of this next 1800 years will be a balance, and the balance is going to be made by an influx of feminine energy. And so, with that being said, who carries the womb, and whose anatomy and physiology holds the womb? That's us. That's the women. So, what we know from physiology, and we also know from science and from spiritual practices that what lives in the womb is powerful. Um, the obvious, the capacity to carry creation in our bodies. That's the obvious. But in addition to that, the energetic or metaphysical and energetic knowing of what lives in our womb space um, is beyond it's beyond the mind knowing. Okay, it is so powerful, Jamila and everyone else. I can't even. I'm going to express
Mm-hmm.
how powerful this energy is. Um, those of us who have a Reiki practice that is grounded in the Japanese way, or the Eastern way, or the way of the Tao, we know of the Hara, we know of the Dantian, and these are words that that describe what others call the sacral chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the sacral chakra
Can you say
encapsulates
those words again? Because some people are probably like, what did she say? You said Hara. Can you
Hara,
spell, is it Hara,
right?
and the
And
Dantian?
T A
T.
N D. Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat. How you spell Dantian?
T
Don.
T A N D-E-N or D-I-E-N, either way. And
Oh, I spelled it with a D. It's T. Okay.
yeah, so those particular words represent uh, the ball of light that we know of as chakras that live in our sacral. Okay, so the ball of light that lives everywhere in our central channel, in our being, um, the is referred to as the hara in our sacral, which is our womb space. Okay. Now, what we have grown to know is because this is the seat of feminine energy, feminine wisdom, intuition. I have a lot to say about the relationship of this Dante and this hara and the heart. We'll
Yeah,
get to
let's. But we're gonna get into
that.
that 'cause I want to dig into
Yeah.
that as well. Yes.
So So
Sure.
the power that lives within us, which has been a source of fear for
Mhm.
many of those of the patriarchy, those who have realized from way back when we had the shift from a feminine dominant culture to a masculine, were they were aware of the power of the womb. Okay, so now we're growing back, coming back around for this 1800 years of really understanding and recognizing this power, and the actual power that lives in our womb space um, lives and grows in our hara or dantian. There is a ball of light that lives right there in the center of our womb space. So whether you have a womb or not, whether you have female reproductive organs or not, it does not matter.
I
And
was going to ask you about that. So if you've had a hysterectomy or or you don't have a womb, this energy is still present. What about for men or people assigned male at birth? Do they have any womb energy? I mean, because they have a second chakra, but do they
yes,
have any womb energy? And how does that work?
okay, they have a hara and they have a dantian. They don't have a womb space. Okay,
Right,
they have a sacral,
right.
and that is the difference. That is the determination. Um, that is one of the determinations of male and female. Okay, so there is a power in both, and I'm going to just focus on the power of the female, of the
Sure,
feminine right
absolutely.
now. Um,
Absolutely.
men can cultivate um, the qualities of the feminine. It's a little different, and
Right.
that's a
Because
whole
we
different.
all have both masculine and feminine energies in all of
Exactly.
us that
Yes.
have to be in harmony.
Yes.
So I wanted to address that because it was a question that I got earlier, and I know that we're going to go deep into some other stuff. But I
Yes.
wanted, and this is an open call to everyone, although we're focusing on feminine energy.
Yes.
There are men who want to learn
Yes.
about this for a variety of reasons, just to educate themselves. I also had a question about a male healer and Reiki practitioner who wanted to learn more about this so that he could strengthen his healing gifts and working with his women clients
Yes.
as well. So I did want to address that, right?
Okay.
And so, okay.
And
So, but you
so
were saying before I interrupted with the question, you were saying,
that's all right. I want to complete my very long response to your question, and
hmm
um, and that has to do with with the hara, with the dantian, with that focus of light. Understanding that those of us who practice Reiki understand the chi, and and practice yoga, other practices. We understand chi energy, ki energy as life force energy, as the energy that keeps us all alive, where the home of that energy actually is in the sacral. Okay.
right,
And for women, because we have, okay, for men and women, we all have a hara, we all have a dantian, and the capacity to heal trauma and emotional uh, memories, past memories, for women is easier. And I'm going to say this because the womb space, and for the men, the sacral, but the womb space, because it is a container that holds life. Um, the life could be um, positive, it could be dark, it could be any kind of life, and the capacity to join with this heart, with the hara, with the light that lives within our womb space, and expand that light consciously will clear up and heal whatever those memories are and experiences are that we naturally as women carry in that part of our bodies, in our sacral. We
okay,
carry those memories. The generational trauma, the relationship trauma,
hmm
relationship heartbreaks, the energy of the heartbreaks, and the memory of the heartbreaks live in our womb space, believe it or not. And
So when people talking about broken hearts, it's not just physically in our hearts, but as people with wombs, it's also in our womb. It's stored there, as
Absolutely.
well as our positive memories or positive
Yes.
experiences stored there as well, or is it all just where the trauma resides?
No, all memories are stored in our wombs, but in that container, it is a container, it is a cradle, a holds. That's the
Mhm.
function of the
Okay.
womb, to hold. So
So,
that's where
so
everything is deposited
uh-huh.
there.
Okay, I was just going to share a thought or an insight that I don't know, it was probably decades ago that someone shared with me, but when the first time I heard it, it just totally rocked my world. Is that when a woman is born, she has all of the eggs in her womb that she will ever have in life.
Right,
Her body hasn't grown to maturity, but she's born with the eggs. And so what that means is every one of us who is female, when our mothers were born, we were already an egg inside of her, which means that when she was inside her mother, and right before you were born, in the mom's last trimester, you were the egg in your mother while your mother was still in her mother,
right.
meaning that we also physically resided in our grandmother's wombs.
Yes,
And therefore, at the time that the egg that was going to become us was created, it wasn't nourished by our mother's body. It was nourished by our grandmother's body and also all of the experiences that she had during pregnancy. So when people talk about generational trauma, generational experiences, generational gifts, generational whatever, we literally are encoded with our grandmother's experiences while our mothers are in our grandmother's wombs, as far as the matrilineal lineage goes. So it
yes,
isn't just theoretical of, the ancestral trauma, because it also goes back multiple layers because she was in her grandmother's womb, et cetera, et cetera. But it literally is biological. You could go to a pregnant woman now who has, a late term pregnancy, and that baby, female baby, has all of her eggs. So she's carrying her child and her grandchild, the egg that will become her grandchild at the same time. Right.
yes.
So it's all related because your grandmother's experiences and her mother's and grandmother's experiences and her grandmother's experiences are all interconnected through the female lineage.
Absolutely.
And
And
therefore, we're not just clearing when we talk about healing the womb space, the energy of the womb space, we're not just healing ourselves, but we're healing at least two generations back and at least two generations forward. So everything that we're doing that brings things to the light has both directions.
yes, and
Someone said, I saw the video just yesterday. A guy was talking about, and I wish I could remember his name, that trees grow in both directions at the same time.
yes,
That
yes,
grow, the roots grow down while the
yes,
branches grow upwards at the
absolutely.
same time. And
Yes.
so I think about our healing that way, that we're healing in both directions, not just linear one, two, three chronological, right?
And the native people have said this, 7 generations is what we're healing. 7 generations back, 7 generations forward. I've heard that forever.
Mhm.
So, and so that is in alignment with what you were just sharing, Jamila. It is, and we can look at our families. We can look at where we have come from, where our parents were, our grandparents, and so forth, and we can look at our children and grandchildren, so forth. Um, so knowing all of that, realizing all of that, then we want to focus on healing what we came with from our mothers, grandmothers, and so forth. Then what we also have, the nature and nurture, what we experienced
Mhm.
um, in utero. Okay, there's a whole, now we're doing a lot of studying about what affected you when you were being carried, that came from your mother's experiences of life at that time, and your birth experience. Sarah, you can speak to that, and your experience as a young child growing up, as all the experiences, everything When you study somatic body work, you understand that we're picking up energy all the time that we're not even aware of. Somebody across the room is saying something. We're talking to my friend right here, but that energy has come into us. Okay, so number one, it's a miracle that we're all walking around with some sense, some sanity, but
Mhm.
so
Some of us more than others.
but so
So,
um, and I don't even know how to say it any stronger. All of it is going into our gut. All of
mhm,
it is going into our sacral. All of it is going into our womb space. And there's a difference between the men and the women of how we receive that energy. And as Jamila described, what came through the birth process or the eggs that all of the females carry, in addition to what has landed in us that we're carrying. So I'm always the one to say, and I'm gonna say it right here with Jamila, for women to be really careful about their sex partners, because you are just like, you're the container. You are just like, bring it in, and
mhm.
you can't help it. You're built that way. So uh, therefore, there's a lot of ways that will show up in your life. But this is just another calling. And I guess we're coming back to your original question. This is the time. We're having so much conversation about healing the womb space,
Mhm.
about moving into our femininity, about resting, about being softer, about more ease, because these are all feminine ways. So it's a all of this is all timely. It really is just the time. It's time.
Mm. So I have so many questions. I'm just trying to prioritize it. And in a little while, we're also going to take some um, questions from the group. But I wanted to know. Let's talk more about this piece about it being the second heart, because I know
Yes.
somebody heard that, and you talked about how we store our emotions there. But can you explain that a little further?
Well, yeah, okay. So Ifetayo is going to go on record and say it's our first heart. I'm going to say it's our first heart. Now, I have read and heard our womb space referred to as our lower heart, our second heart.
Hmm.
I believe it's our first heart, and and I'm going to say why. For me, having studied energy forever and practicing energy forever, and I'm a researcher. I read and research like all the time. So what I understand of the relationship between our womb space and our heart is this: the first point of attraction is from the sacral, from the womb space. That's this. Um, oh my God, is he fine? Oh my
Hmm.
God, I'm just in love with her. That's
Hmm.
not your heart. That is not your heart speaking. That is your womb space speaking. That
Okay.
is your sacral. Your sacral is like, woo! Look at
Your
him
your
across the
heart
room.
is nowhere involved in that initial attraction space.
That's right. Your sacral, from whatever is vibrating in your sacral that feels good and yummy, that looks good and yummy. Um, some experiences like, oh, my father, he was so tall and handsome. Oh, look at him, so tall and handsome. All of this, that's from your, it's the memories from your womb space.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it's the first point of attraction of love. You're not Yoni Ashara.
Ashana said Yoni jumping.
Ashana. That's one of my
Hey,
daughters.
Ashana.
So that's not coming from here, y'all. Y'all are not being like attracted to that person from here. Okay, this is the love that grows. This is the love. Once I get that connection from my wound space, from this magnetic um, attractor factor, if we can hang out here long enough and really figure out our simpatico or our destiny, and we stay there long enough so that we have enough experiences that grow a depth of love, that grow our compassion, that
Mhm.
grow our capacity to forgive that person, to grow our capacity to sit and be with that person. That's what this is. But this is not where it starts, honey. This
Mm.
is not where the love starts. So that starts down here in this the seat of magnetism. This is your magnetic center.
Mhm.
You're drawing to you what's living in there. Okay,
Yeah.
you are
Yes.
drawing to you male and female, women and friends and lovers. You're drawing them from your womb space. So for Mama Ifetayo, the grandmother, saying, "You better clean up that space, girlfriend," so that you who you're drawing to
Gotta
you,
clean up that space, girlfriend.
so that so that you because you're witnessing the people on the outside who are living on the inside. Okay,
Mm.
so
Oh, say that again. You're witnessing people on the outside who are living on the inside.
that's who is in your world.
Yeah.
So you will see the clearer your womb space becomes, the more high vibrational, the more the difference in the people who are uh Sarah, who are in your space.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sarah said a spiritual douching. And Luana, hey cuz, said it
Hi.
all makes sense. So I want to back up a second because we're talking about the energy of the womb space and what it represents. And we talked about the role it plays in attraction, that you're attracting people based on the energy and frequency and level of healing of your womb space. Let's back up for a little because for people who haven't studied Reiki and other healing arts, what does the sacral chakra and second chakra represent, and what energy does that represent?
You mean in general?
It's general and just
In,
basic
in
general.
general, I mean, people refer to the sacral chakra when you're studying chakras. Um, it's the area of of relationships,
Hmm.
of attraction, and relationships primarily is what people think of
Hmm.
when they are thinking of the second chakra.
Yeah.
It also, because it's between the first and the third, it's going to be influenced by the first, which would be material world, very concrete.
Right.
Um,
The root chakra.
yeah, but there is a definite. Um, it's a relationship chakra, and
Mhm.
so relationship with parents, with family, with lovers, with friends, with community. This
I
is
also learned that it's also where this is everything that you create and birth in your life, not just physical
yes,
children, first starts in the womb energy.
yes,
And it's also where our sense of self-worth and entitlement to a good life, entitlement to
yes,
joy, not wishing just for joy, but feeling entitled to joy, abundance, peace, and knowing that it's our birthright exists in this space, but also in this our womanhood literally in this space, but also any celebration of or damage to our womanhood,
yes,
be it coming into the world as a girl and someone being disappointed that you were a girl,
yes,
or being passed over for promotion because of men, or even living in a culture that has a very different standard of beauty than how you were born. All of your senses of womanhood, in addition to all of the big stuff, the harassment, the assaults, the abortions, the miscarriages, the energy of grief, the infertility, all of that is also held in this area. And so when we are creating, including creating attraction and feeling attracted and creating relationship, it's all coming from that place then,
that's
wouldn't you
right.
say?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the magnetic factor. It's the attractor factor, I call it.
The attractor factor.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the womb space. And I love that you brought in that whole piece about creativity, because of course that's what it's all about. I mean, when we study chakra work, if we don't get very specific about the womb space there, that we don't talk as much about creativity center. It is the creativity center,
Mhm.
and one of the beauties of healing that space, and I'm going to talk about how what way of doing that, but is that we become more clear in our creations. We
Mm-hmm.
can see and intuit even more clearly how to get from here to there. We can hear guidance. We can envision more clearly because the space is clearer. When we
Yeah.
got mucked up energy in our, in our create in our creation space, then we still are powerful, but it's just not as clear and
Mm-hmm.
therefore not as facile, not as easy to
Mm-hmm.
bring that creation into fruition.
So how do you know whether you have a mucked up womb space? How do you know, like, what does that look like? So for someone listening to this, and they're saying, okay, I've never really thought about my womb besides, am I on my period? What is involved with that? Am I pregnant? Is there somebody living in there? Like, beyond this very, for many of us, not everybody, but for many of us, we're not raised to have a relationship with our womb.
Right.
um, and it's very transactional. So for someone thinking for the first time, how do I even know what's in there? And is it all mucked up? Like, where do they? How do they even know what manifests on the outside that lets them know, or even on the inside physically, that lets them know that their womb space is out of alignment and needs healing?
They look at their world. We look at
Oh,
our world.
is that simple?
It is that everything in our world has started with the as create as being gestated in our womb space. Everything. So
Mhm,
so you look at say for example, you look at a relationship with a male or female, whoever is you are attracted to and connected with. And you think in the beginning, this is the right person. This person is just, he has to be or she has to be my soulmate. And we
oh
blah,
Lord.
blah, all of that.
In my work, I get a call every day. Is this person my soulmate?
Yes,
Is
all
this
of that.
person my soulmate? Because they want to be done with the dealing with what's out there in the world. Uh-oh, did I lose my mom off the screen? Well, she'll be back in a second. Hold up. Hold on for a second. Well, log back in, mom. Mom got bumped. I'm not sure what happened. Now here she's back. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. There's a countdown coming on your camera. There we go. Three, two, one. She's back. So Adrian was
So,
just saying in the chat, never once in my life have I ever considered a relationship with my own womb. This is so good.
yeah,
And Mama Moot said, "Oh boy, you will know when you hit rock bottom and get chewed up." So you were talking about
yes,
how to
yes.
how to recognize based on what you see in your world.
and 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 I'm the eternal optimist in a way, in that I'm not saying it's a bad thing because things are mucked up, or it's not quite what you thought it was going to be, or you can't get to where you want to be, because these are all lessons in life. These are
Right.
all the lessons that are stepping stones for us to grow. But we can shortcut it if we get our womb space cleared up. So why should we spend all this extra time with the wrong person or with the wrong job, or trying to go down this path because my mama said I ought to be a doctor, so I'm going to just keep on going through med school, when in fact I'm getting sick all the time. So why do I need to spend all that time when I could be in joy, in love, in
Mhm.
peace, in creativity, and in experiencing and being grateful for all that I've created and
Mhm.
all of the abundance of my life. Um, I have so many personal stories I could go in my own growing. I was, I didn't come out
Well, share one. Share one because I know some. I know most of them. I don't know all of them, but share one.
um Um, okay. Well, I don't know. There's so many to choose from.
Okay.
Um, there was one. I made a move to another city um, because I had the feel. Number one, when I was feeling pressured by some friends who lived there that I should be moving there to be with them. When I
Mhm.
already was living in the place that my heart had chosen for me, I after 2 years, I just said, fuck it. That's what I said. Mother Ifetayo. I said, okay, then I'm gone. And
Well,
I
you
just
got word. Mama said, "Fuck it" on live stream. I'm not at all surprised, but I don't know. Anybody thinks that being spiritual means that you're not a real person and say what you feel has missed the mark. So you moved to another city. So you were in. You're from DC at the time. You were living in St.
South Carolina.
Beaufort area, St. Helena area, South Carolina. You moved into Vermont
Yeah, you saying
because
all
you
the
felt.
words. I wasn't even
Well,
saying all that, but that's all right. So and the reason, one of the
I was worried
reasons,
about you telling all my business.
I know. Girl, you
Oh, how the tables have turned. I'm just kidding.
so
So
anyway,
anyway,
I made
I
the
made the
decision
decision
to
to
move
move
there.
there.
And even though at the time I I just said, fuck it. It was like, just like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Uh-huh.
And if my womb space, okay, and one of the reasons that I was able to make that decision against my heart, against this love of self that here and here, was my deep desire to really live in a community, to have a community that I lived amongst, that we all shared, and all of that. So I bought into the fact that this is what hilarious, she said. And so I bought into, I let myself believe that this was what was going to be, when I had already had experiences contrary to that, even
Right.
before then. And
So
had
there's a part of you that knew, but you allowed yourself to be talked into doing it a
I,
different way, which I bring this up because it's the theme of the energy theme of the year. For
okay,
the people that have followed me and saw my New Year's Day broadcast is knowing. Knowing is, what do you know to be true, and are you walking in that? Are you pretending like you don't know? Are you suppressing it? Are you wishing it was different? Like, so I wanted to highlight that because we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about, I have been talking about this theme of this energy theme of knowing.
yes.
I'm going to be talking a lot more about that.
Well, now that you brought this up, I'm just going to interject this one thought. Because of my Reiki practice, and so in alignment, Jamila and I have, we come up with these like experiences where we hadn't even talked about it. But for this new year, what came to me really strongly before 2025 came in was to stay in my Reiki precept practice of, just for today, I will be true to my way and being.
Yeah.
I will be true to my way and being. So the
Also known as, I will, the one about integrity for the Reiki practitioners there, I will do my work honestly.
yes,
The
it's the same.
interpretation is about the integrity and the authenticity and the intention.
Exactly. So the way that my preference for that particular precept is, I will be true to my way and being. And I've always thought that I had been, but there has been even more revealing for me of how I had not truly lived in that authenticity fully. And
Mhm,
so at that time, being true to my way and being, if I had been practicing, I would have stayed my butt right here in St. Helena. But
mhm,
because I was not strong in my sacral and my womb space of of perhaps this time, perhaps this community, perhaps these people, and in my integrity of knowing these people and knowing what I had experienced with them before, and knowing that I had moved to where I loved, that this was just a sign that I had not cleared up in my own womb space, um, this capacity of mine to go seeking community and wanting it so badly that I would just give up my life, the life that I had already created. So
right.
a strong womb space, I would have been clear. I would say, hell
Oh,
no.
no.
I live here.
Here.
I'm here. This is
Yeah.
where I want to live.
And you've been down here now for how long? I mean, including the 2 year, detour. How long have you been now in South Carolina?
I moved
20?
here in 2000.
In
So
2000? Okay, so 25 years minus
yes.
the 2 in the
No,
other place.
seven, Jamila,
That's
seven,
why I'm gonna say 2 seemed like it was long. Yeah, okay. So
seven.
then you're back here, home of your heart. And the reason why I bring this up also is because one, there are people who are listening to us, either live or on the replay, who have never felt at home in their location. And there is a home of their heart perhaps somewhere else, but they haven't yet given themselves permission, one, to explore it, two, or they know where it is and they haven't given themselves permission to go. I bring this up. This is going to be my theme for that. I keep bringing this up because for the people who I've been working with, my clients who are listening, or people who've been following my social media and whatever, know that I picked up and moved to Barbados. To them, it may have seemed sudden. There was a journey, but people ask me, was I afraid of this, that, and the other? While I had some fears about doing something unknown, I had a role model for someone who has prioritized joy and willing to risk it all, or not even risk it all, but willing to step outside of what is approved, what is known. Some of that for you is that Aries energy, and then also, with human design types, we can get into all that stuff. And so it wasn't a foreign concept to me that you can just pick up and move somewhere that makes your heart happy and
Mhm.
makes your womb happy.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's just one example of how you live your life. And for those that don't know you, mom's about to turn 80 next month. But mom, how many medications are you on?
None.
None. Because she is like the most healthy, most vital, has the most vitality that of anybody that I know of any age. Just in how she lives her life, prioritizes joy, her Reiki, and other self care practices, and also doing the inner work to
Mhm.
um to to release anything that is not
Yes,
in alignment, joy. And even though that might mean being questioned by or disappointing other people. I also need to say that now that I'm 51 going on 52, what I have seen in my life and my relationship with you is you following your heart and your womb space long before it made sense to a whole lot of other people, receiving criticism and funny questions and what are you doing? What did you
I
know? Mom
know.
was into Reiki, aromatherapy, meditation in the 80s before that wasn't a mainstream practice, before you could go to Target or the grocery store to get a lavender oil, and at the time I was a kid and I was just like, what is mom doing? I was just, being a kid. But I'm talking about other adults though,
Yeah.
wondering what you're doing. And some of these same people now want to know your secret.
Mhm.
Now they want to know how are you living like you're living, and in the level of health and joy and abundance that you're living in. And so
But can I respond to that for a second? Yeah,
yes,
because
please.
I want to assure folks, I have good genes, but I don't have the genetics of living a long life. Both
Yes.
of
I,
my
I was
parents,
gonna bring that up too.
yes, I have outlived my mother died at 69. My birth father died at 80, that's the best of all of them.
Mhm.
The father who raised me died at 65. My grandmother died at 78. Um, and but there I have to say the lifestyle differences and the my consciousness, I'm committed to my health, to my wellness.
Mhm.
Um, first, number one, without a selfishness about it. So that can contribute to, um, and I'm grateful that I don't have so far any congenital um, heart conditions or other of those issues. I also believe that because I've worked so much with my Reiki and my
Mhm.
womb space and clearing the setups, clearing the setups.
What do you mean by setups?
The setups are those preconditioned, those pre, those conditions that we come with that are predetermined from our genetics. I
Yeah.
call those
Okay.
the setups. And
Got
so
it.
there, we might not clear all of them, but the focus on clearing our genetics, clearing the trauma, the emotional trauma that we inherited, healing and clearing the physical um, contributors to
Mhm.
our not being well, and not and having a lifestyle that will not contribute to strengthening those predetermined factors that might be living in us. So
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of wellness and longevity in age and in life, can you talk a bit about the physical ailments that so many women face in their wombs, the
yes,
fibroids, this, the tumors, the this, the that, the other, and what does that have to do with womb space energy and being mucked up, as you say?
yeah, well, with a lot of compassion, because as a healing person, we want to step into these questions and into being of service with compassion, with hearts of compassion. Number one, that that these are the conditions that are showing up. So, um, as an energy worker, I my life is based on energy. I don't know any other way to live. Everything for me is energy. And the energy, of course, can be ethereal that and we can't see it. It's all around us and it's in us. Or the energy has become solid,
Mhm.
such as our bodies, such as the atoms and everything that makes up our bodies. It's all energy and all vibration. Okay. So when we come from that perspective, and we are being with women who have have conditions in their uterus. Um, I'm pretty much aware. I am aware. Let me. I am aware that more often than not, the conditions are the concretizing of energy that this woman has taken into herself,
Mhm.
usually from another partner
Mhm.
or from
From connections, from relationships,
relationships,
including family. Not it's not
including
always a
family.
sexual romantic
Yes,
thing, but
including
whatever
family.
internalizing. Mhm.
And this is where it's landed in this woman. And generally, this is a stretch that I'm gonna say. Generally, these are the women who are more on the feminine side of the spectrum, because that same energy could concretize as constrictions in the brain or in the heart, or
Mhm.
they could be hardnesses that grow somewhere else. But when it comes to the womb space, it is generally relational, from relationships, and generally from women who pretty much have an open more open are more open to taking in other people's energy.
Okay.
Okay. So there again, because it's energy, and I've had experience with this in working with women, we are capable of shrinking tumors. We are capable um, of, of really clearing up endometriosis and all the things. We really can do that. We carry the medicine. I love saying that. I love posting that on Facebook. We are the medicine. We are the ashe. We are Reiki. We are it. We just need to remember. We need to remember that we have that power. And we can also engage other folks. Particularly, I'm a firm believer in bringing somebody else in. The more energy, the better, particularly if it's a chronic or a very serious case of something, you want to have other support. Um, but it is, yeah. So again, coming back around, because I love telling stories, but coming back around to your original statement, Jamila, about the womb space and about the so many women and so many women of color. Oh my God, it's almost epidemic. The endometriosis that we are experiencing, and why women of color particularly. I mean, there's some there's some conditions that are more prevalent with some
Mhm.
women,
Right.
and
Like women of color having greater percentages, relative population of these reproductive health issues and certain
Absolutely.
kinds of cancers, including breast cancer, which
Yeah.
even though it's breast, it's also a second chakra issue as well as the heart chakra.
And
Right.
this, yeah, the breast lives in the upper heart
Mhm.
chakra area. Um, so,
So if someone is now listening to this, watching this, and thinking, okay, I think maybe my womb space is mucked up. There's some stuff in there. Where do they begin with being intentionally on the path to wholeness and healing around that area? Where do they start?
okay, number one, um, I'd love to share and teach. We have our hands. We have
Mhm.
our hands, we have our heart. And our hands are the extension of our heart. This upper love, this deep, compassionate, forgiving love lives here, and we share with our hands. So we bring our hands to our womb. If we do nothing else, we bring our loving hands to our womb and
So
sit.
everybody can do that right now. If you're not like driving or operating heavy
Yes,
machinery or something, put
yes.
your put your hands on your womb.
And actually, you can activate the energy by rubbing your hands together. Put your hands on your womb. You, some of us like to put one hand under the other. Some of us like to put our fingertips together so that both palms of our hands are cradling um, both hemispheres of our womb space. And so that our fingertips are meeting at the light in the center, our heart. So if you put your hand one on top of another, your hands are also on top of that hara light. So we have our hands on our womb space. We can bring our breath, intentional breath. That is so powerful. I don't even know how many people understand how powerful intentional breath is. If we're Reiki, breathe in Reiki. If we're not Reiki, I mean, even if we're not Reiki, we can breathe in Reiki if we want to. We we can breathe in the healing energy of the earth. Breathe it up from the earth into our womb space. Breathe it down from the sun and from the heavens into our womb space. So, intentional breath, I am now breathing healing energy or healing light into my womb space. And I let the love from my heart radiate through my hands to heal my womb space. This is a place to start. And then follow your intuition, follow your knowing, and find someone who can teach you practices or work with you in helping to clear. But find someone who has knowledge about healing. But you can start there. Intention, prayer and intention about the same thing, and loving hands.
So put your own hands on yourself.
Yeah.
Set your intentions and pray on it. Find additional healing support. I don't know why you out here talking about you to find somebody when you the person is you.
Well, there's other somebody's. I got so many
I know
people on
there's
this
somebody
call.
right here on the screen that they now know how to reach, which I'm about to tell them how to reach you.
Well,
So
you're on here, Mama Moot. Let me tell you, Mama
my
Moot
mood
is
is
the
here
moon
too. Yeah,
queen. She's the moon,
in the
the moon
chat.
queen. Yeah.
I'll put her on the screen too.
Crystal's here. So many of my womb people, women healers are here.
The woke
So
people, women healers. So you mentioned women of color, but what about just the general population of women?
yeah.
Is this applicable to everyone?
Absolutely. I mean, every woman, yeah, it's applicable to everyone. But we are in a, we want to be living now in this new age in transparency and awareness and truth. You know,
Yeah.
we don't want to be shy about saying women of color have a higher percentage or
Well, that's
incidence
what the
of
data shows. I
this.
mean, that's a fact, not an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, but and on the same hand, we can say therefore we might need something different. We might need to be with some people who we feel safe with. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that go along with that. So, um, but yes, yes. So women of color have a higher incidence, and And there are factors, there are societal factors, there are genetic factors, there are experiential family factors that contribute
Right.
to these conditions.
Yeah, and including that part about your grandmother, most of us don't really know our grandmother's story, or not the whole story,
Right.
especially the part about when she was younger and the things that she experienced, including while she was carrying your mother, our mothers. So we don't have to know all the details. So some of us don't have grandmothers who are here on the earthly plane to answer those questions, or may not be forthcoming with that information. But we can set the intention to heal and release what we're carrying in there that's mucked up energy, right? So I know you have an event coming up, a virtual event, womb healing event coming up on Saturday, February 22nd. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that, what it is and who it's for? I'm going to, PJ McGuire said, can you please share your mama's info? This is right what we're about to get into. So just hold tight because we're gonna talk about that. So can you talk about your virtual event? So that's open to everyone worldwide. That's on Saturday, February 22nd. Talk about that. Tell the people because they're in the chat blowing up wanting more information.
Yeah. So if you resonated with this conversation, I have been gifted, as I have cleared my old daggone womb space. I have been gifted
Dag on womb space. Not
with
from
some
womb space, or dag on womb space. Okay.
that I love deeply. My beautiful womb space. Um, so I have been gifted with the downloads of virtual retreats of womb healing. So February 22nd, there will be a virtual womb healing rest, I call it, retreat. It's on Facebook. I've posted
Well,
it on
I'm putting,
Facebook.
I got you a special URL, Mom, and I'm
Oh,
putting it in the chat right now and on the screen. If you go to bit.ly, bit.ly, Ife Womb Retreat, it's in the chat, it's on the screen. Ife is IFE, all lowercase. This is case sensitive, Ife Womb Retreat. It will take you to the flyer that has more information and how to register. But tell them what is this virtual womb retreat? What does it encompass? And it's Saturday from 5 p.m. to 8:30 Eastern
right.
time.
Yeah, this is the one on the 22nd of February for all women.
Right, right.
And what I love about the clarity of my womb, which allowed the clarity of this creation to come forward, is that it's virtual, which means that every woman on who attends this retreat, um, each
Oh, let me
woman
see.
is in their own home, in their own bedrooms, in their own living rooms, wherever they are comfortable and cozy. So I encourage all the women to find the most. I'm in my bedroom when I'm facilitating and leading this retreat, but I encourage all the women to be in the most comfortable place. Bring your comfies, bring your shawls, bring rest is the sub theme of this retreat. Healing happens when there is relaxation, when there is peace, when there's tension, tightness, rushing, the healing is put aside for the energy to go into that space.
Mhm.
But healing the womb and healing any other part of us happens in a place of relaxation, a place of comfort, a place of rest. So we create that space by being in our own spaces on this virtual retreat. And so we're all there together. And it's very slow, very meditative, very inner, very um, focused on our womb, focused on being capable of feeling what is living in us. That's why it's slow. That's why we take our time. That's why we do a lot of meditating because we want to be able to know ourselves, to be familiar with ourselves, to recognize what's going on in me. Often we're rushing around the life in life so much we are really not aware of what's happening inside of my own self. So so we take that time. That's why it's from 5 to 8:30. because we're going to take our time with this. I encourage the women to bring their tea, bring their water, bring food, whatever you need at that time to be comfortable. And we go into the body, we go exploring, we learn how to recognize if my right side, my right ovary, the right side of my wound is more active and pulsing and vibrating, what that means. There's a reason why it's on the right side of why your issues are on the right side. If it's on the left side, and we can all feel the difference if we really take the time, there's a reason why your issues are on your left side. And then I will share some practices of how to heal or begin your healing process, to clear up what's living in the womb space. And then we end with my sharing a group Reiki healing for everyone who's there.
Listen, y'all, if y'all, if for no other reason than to get on mom's group Reiki clearing and healing, it is so powerful. Let me just interrupt for a second and tell a little bit more because a couple of things people need to know. One, mom has the February 22nd womb healing virtual retreat on Saturday 22nd. Second, mom also does Reiki healings one-on-one, including distance Reiki. She doesn't have to be in your room and laying hands on you. She can do this at a distance and you will feel it. And number three, do you still have spaces for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes, you're
Okay.
going to talk about tomorrow.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you want to talk about tomorrow, for the event tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay. So there's something
Oh,
happening tomorrow that there's still some spaces for.
yes. Okay. So this is not publicly shared on Facebook. What's Jamila shared with you is the public, open to all women womb healing retreat on February 22nd.
Right.
Tomorrow night, February 8th, I had been requested to create a womb space for melanated women, meaning women of color. So tomorrow night is a private, um, is a womb space, the same retreat, but only for melanated women, because and there are reasons for this. And
Sure.
I was invited to create this space because there are still some woundedness and some ways that melanated women need to be in spaces where they feel safe, and as a part of healing.
Sure.
So
So that's tomorrow. The womb healing retreat for everyone is February 22nd. You do have a couple spaces left for the one that's focused specifically on women of color that
tomorrow,
you were invited to host tomorrow. The
yes,
cost for either one is the same, right? It's $85. You
yes,
can register using that same link below. You just when you register, you need to indicate the second screen after you put in what you want. It says what the payment is for. Put your name and put which date you are registering for. If you do not put a date, mom will assume you want February 22nd. If
yes,
you did want to attend the one on tomorrow, because I know it's short notice, not everyone's available, and that one is specifically for women of color, that there are a couple of spaces left for that. Make sure you put in the form that you want the February 8th. You will, this is low tech, so mom will email you the details, the Zoom link. You're not going to see it pop right up on the screen as soon as you make the payment. Just trust and relax in the process. Exhale, woosah. Okay. And yeah, I had to convince mom to let me even put it on a flyer to upload it. I did that like at 6:55 p.m. and we got online at 7 o'clock because I know that when my people show up, they're gonna flood her inbox and she thinks she's gonna collect payments one by one and go back and forth, send it here, send it there, and I'm just like, mom, please don't do that. So anyway, all this to say, if you go to the link on the screen right there below on the screen. Yes, Moot said, "Can you go to both?" Yeah, I guess you could. You could go to both. You would have to register twice.
yeah,
That's fine. If you want
absolutely.
that double dose, there's no such thing as too much Ifetayo. So Mama Ife is just like come one, come all, right?
And there's never too much womb healing. I mean, it's a journey. I'm 80 almost, and I'm still healing some places. It's a lifelong journey, and at
Right.
some point you get to the place where the, you've switched it, that you've healed enough that it's mostly forward action, bright light. But but you have to stay in it. You have to stay in the healing process. So
Okay.
yeah, there's never too many womb healing retreats to attend. You can
Yeah.
come to them all.
And so what Kimberly said is the one tomorrow at the same time. Yes, they're both at 5 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. to 8:30.
Yes,
Yes, she's still taking registration. The one for tomorrow, it, please do not try to register an hour before the event. So the cutoff time, Mom, what is the cutoff time for registering for the February 8th event, for the specific one for women of color?
I'm going to say 1 o'clock Eastern
One
time.
o'clock p.m. Are you sure?
I'm going to say
You
yes.
want to like midnight
No,
tonight?
I'm no, no, no. I know
PM
Jamila.
on Saturday.
Jamila has a lot more order about how she does these things. I'm old school, real old school. So I can handle up to 1 o'clock tomorrow
Okay.
because it's virtual. I'm not fixing food for folks as if you're here
Okay.
in my space,
Okay.
all that.
Okay. But you still got to email them their stuff. So the one on February 8th, if you want to go tomorrow, you have to register by 1 p.m. tomorrow in order to be there at 5 p.m. The
Yeah.
one for February 22nd, you have until 1 o'clock, I guess, on February 22nd. Is that correct?
Um,
Or let's say midnight
yes,
February 21st.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I feel like you're going to get a lot more people because there's more lead time. So I just want to I want to
yes.
give you some cushion to
Okay.
not be having to, respond to emails and texts and stuff while you're trying to rest for your retreat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so just to be clear, there's one tomorrow, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's February 8th. That's specific to women of color. Please register if you're going to that one by 1 p.m. on February 8th. The main one, the big one, is February 22nd, which is also a Saturday, also from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which is New York time. They're both the same cost, $85, which is a bargain. And you have until midnight, February 21st, to register for that. So if you need, 2 weeks to get yourself together, get your schedule together. Someone asked a question. They can't come in February. Are you going to be having more of these events?
I definitely, this is my way now. This is my
Okay.
way of serving until I get a message that this is complete. So you can expect to see in all the usual places, particularly Facebook. That's my main.
Oh, let me put your Facebook page in the chat.
And
Hey, Susan's in here.
I also suggest that folks who really want to keep in the know, send me their email address somehow. Get the email address to me because I do have an email list and I do keep people up to date on.
Do you want me to put your email in the chat?
Yes,
I'm not gonna put it on the screen, but I will put it in the chat.
yes,
It's
thank you.
Lisa
And
Moon.
there's Sydney. She's here, uh,
Sydney is my older sister.
and she said my website.
We're
And
not gonna talk.
also, I want to respond to Kathy Bostic Anderson. And Kathy is asking, does Mama Ifetayo have a calendar?
Oh,
With
for scheduling. How does somebody get a Reiki session with you, either in person or virtual?
I am not Jamila, so you're not going to go to my website with a schedule and find a schedule to schedule yourself. You will not do that. You will be in touch with me. I You're going to be in touch with me directly, either a text or a email, and I'm going to say these are the times I have open. So that's
Okay.
what you have to do.
Okay. Okay. So mom's email is in there. Do you want me to put your phone number on there for people
Yeah,
to text you? Okay,
yeah.
let me tell you something. I'm gonna put this number here. Do not call my mama. Text her. Do not call her at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 a.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., or even at noon. Text with your fingers or voice to text. I'm going to put her number in here. Do not abuse this privilege.
No one has to worry about that because I will not respond. I'm really good about that. I
Self love in action is a healthy boundary.
Yes,
And she has healthy boundaries.
because I have cleared my womb space of my need to people please.
So,
So I am not pleasing
in other words,
people.
she's going to say, fuck it.
I'm going to say, bless your heart. You need to text me.
She will. She will tell you. She won't even answer, or she'll just tell you. Okay, so and tell her what you want. If you want to schedule, if you want to go to the womb healing retreat and you have a question. Oh, did I put in mom's wrong? Let me put in your Facebook. I think Facebook. Are you Ifetayo White on there or Ifetayo Sun?
On my Facebook page is
Yeah.
Ifetayo White.
Oh, okay. Let me see what is your Facebook page. I'm gonna put it in the. I'm gonna type it in
My
so I can see
phone number,
what it is.
all this information is on my
Oh,
Facebook
you're on
page.
Facebook page. If you search for Facebook,
Yeah.
it is look for Ifetayo White. But if
Oh,
you want to go straight to the URL, I'm sorry, the URL is Ifetayo Sun SUN. So I'm put that in the chat. Okay.
yeah.
So
But
how do we get in touch with Ifetayo? Let me recap. We do not call her. We do not call her. We will email her.
yes,
We will text her.
yes. And we will,
Maybe. Do you want them to inbox you on Facebook?
you can inbox me on Facebook. And even I do respond to messages from my website. I
Oh,
get
and
messages.
her website. Let me put your website on the thing, on the screen here. I'm gonna put it's ifetayowhite.co, not .com. So I'm gonna put that in there. So don't get confused when you see it. It's not a typo. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Okay, so you should see ifetayowhite.co. Adrian says, I promise not to call you. Best thing to do is if you want to go to the retreat, go to the URL, not this one on her website, the one I sent you. That's in the chat, the one that says Ife Womb Retreat, and click the button and just register. You don't need to know a whole lot. If your womb is saying come, just register and show up when you get the Zoom. Make sure that you have the email address that is on your PayPal account is what is she'll send it to, unless you put something else in the box. So how do we register
Well,
for the retreat? We
let
do
me
this
just say,
tomorrow right here.
and I receive payments through all of the apps, not just PayPal, all of the apps and Zelle.
Right. Okay,
So
so we'll keep this simple though. If you don't want to pay via PayPal or directly with a credit card, which is also how you can do this PayPal thing,
yes,
this payment link. If you want to pay some other way, Cash App or Zelle or Venmo, Courier Pigeon, whatever you want to do, that's when you text her to set that up. Keep my mama's life simple and just pay with a credit card or PayPal on the link that we gave you. Unless you really can't do that, then you text her. Please keep my mama life simple. People are already saying that they're texting you,
I'm looking at
by
my
the way.
phone. I have quite a few folks registering for tomorrow.
Yay. Okay, great. There, you're going to, if you go tomorrow or to the February 22nd or any of mom's stuff, follow her on social media on Facebook because she posts her stuff there. The February 22nd event, if you want to share that with people, she has it as an event on her page, on her Facebook page. We'll get her website updated later. But right now, you know what to do and you know where to go.
I don't keep up all of my events on my website, but if you want to, if you want to, you can go look at what's on there. Just the info.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, me and Sydney gonna get you straight before your birthday, though.
I
We gonna get
know.
you straight with this website. Just look at it like this. It's just inviting more ease,
Yes, I
more
do.
ease. Yes. Does anybody have questions for Mom before we go? Because I know some people had posted questions and we answered those. Latana says I've been following her for years. While people are typing their questions, PJ
Y'all
said,
better
"Young
not
Lady is
stress
gonna
me.
eat their tile out." She's not gonna be stressed. You're gonna be stressed. Let me put it like this: she's not gonna be stressed. She don't do stress, but
No,
you're gonna get your feelings hurt when there's no response or whatever. Agent said, "Is there an email newsletter?" Well, yes, but you have to text her your email address or message her or email her so that she will add you to it. There's no sign up form for that. Okay. Catherine says, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Yes, she does have an email. So while people are typing in their questions, if there are any, I want to ask you a couple fun questions before we close out. You're about to turn 80. and you've been through all of the decades, and now you're entering your 90th decade as you turn 80. Which decade was your favorite? Was it 40? Was it 50? Was it 60? 70? Is 80 your favorite? Like, what's your favorite?
Well, I haven't experienced the 80th. Have I experienced the 80th decade? The 80th decade? No, I've just come through
The
my
80th
seventh.
year, but you're entering because the first decade is technically 0 to 10. It starts with a zero. But I'm
Uh,
just saying for you, your birthdays, like, was the 80th, is the 80th the best? The 70s, the 60s? You once told me that 50 was one of the best because you have all the power and all the vitality.
yeah, well, I'm going to say
Then you turn
generally,
60, then you turn 70. So
I'm going to just say, I always tell women 50s and 60s are the most powerful decades for women, I feel. And when you say my favorite, it doesn't mean I say those are the most powerful. They're not my
those are
favorite.
not your favorite, but just
No, the
what's,
the
let me
power,
fix my question.
huh?
Let me fix my question.
Yeah.
What's the most powerful decade?
Um, the most powerful
Oh,
decade for me, I'm going to say for me the 60s, my 60s. Now,
why?
my seventh decade was my favorite. The one I'm just coming through was my favorite. But the
Why was
sixth,
the 60s more powerful for you?
because I had more physical strength,
Mhm.
um, I could last longer in physical activity and in yeah, just engaging. I'm just built differently now. And when I went into my seventh, and women in their 50s and 60s have the capacity to create. Their womb space is so creative and vibrant, and
Mhm.
they have experience from the 20s and 30s and 40s to build upon. They've lived enough life by their 50s and 60s that a certain amount of wisdom can be shared in addition to just knowing things,
Mhm.
just having learned stuff.
Yes.
So, particularly in the 60s, that all of that comes together so beautifully. And so, the creations for us to support our communities, to support a bigger, more people happens to, for far as I'm concerned, in our 50s and 60s. Look at the women in power in the world. You can see most of them are in their 50s and 60s, and now even their 70s, because of the way that we are being able to expand these capacities as we age. So yeah, I my favorite is the 70s, even though I didn't have the same stamina or capacity to just or strength, physical strength, or not getting up without holding on and all of those things. Then, but my wisdom and my clarity, my clear womb space, the more clear, my knowing myself, and my capacity to say no without feeling bad about it, and my capacity to say yes, and my capacity to just enjoy, just accept and enjoy has grown. That grows as we move, you know, into our seventh decade and beyond. So,
So 70s is your favorite.
yeah,
50 for you, the 60 for you was the most powerful.
yeah.
What advice would you give to women in their, and you mentioned the 50s too, because 50s and 60s about that creating from
Yeah.
the womb. What advice would you give to women who are watching and listening who are in their 40s?
Um, I will. Okay, the first thing that came to mind. This is just the first thing that came to mind.
Sure.
Rest is
Oh,
resistance.
somebody just really asked the question as I was saying. It was Jamila in Hilton Head. What advice would you give a mom in her 40s? Yep. So you said rest.
Rest is resistance to the grind culture. We have
Mm-hmm.
got to learn to rest. And in your 40s, because you have so much vitality and so much capacity physically, and many more requests, younger children,
Care,
job, work, all
older
of that.
parents. Mhm.
Yes, then the commitment to rest. to take that time and say, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going to take a nap, or we're not going to start that meeting until 2 because I rest from 12 to 1.
Mhm.
In your 40s, you got to start it.
Mhm.
And it is, so that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Remember, Jamila, when and I
I
think
was
I was, when they were little, when Sydney and
about
Jamila
to
were
bring this
little,
up. I know what you're going to say.
and I became a meditator. This was in 82.
Yeah, so I
So,
was like around 9, 10, 11. I remember that time period.
and I didn't have any of this wisdom and knowledge. I didn't know. But what I did know, I had just begun meditating, and I was a TM, transcendental meditator. So that was, you sat twice a day, 20 minutes a day. And I was a single mom with these two young girls, 9 and 11. But what I did know, and I was working out in the world. So that meant I was working full time. I had to pick them up from after school. I had to go home. We had to fix
Get
dinner, eat, do
dinner.
homework, the whole thing. But because of how I'm built, I that's an overwhelm for me. And once I started meditating, I instituted in our home that your mother, once we get home, I am going into my bedroom for 20 minutes. And unless this house is on fire or you're dying, you will not disturb me. You will not knock on the door.
This is facts.
And Jamila be whispering under the door, Mama. And but this, I was in I think I was in my 40s by then, but I might have been in my late 30s. I don't know.
You're around 40, yeah, around 40, give or take.
But it was hard for me initially to institute that time. But for me to go from working out in the world, focus on that, and then be a mom and taking care of these children, I needed rest. I needed that 20 minutes to just shift the energy, to just come back in. So I didn't know anything about this except for what I needed. And I know that it was upsetting to my children to for me to close the door on them for 20 minutes.
Yes. And let me just give y'all some background. The layout of our house was mom's bedroom door was right across from where the kitchen was, which was kind of like the hub.
Yeah,
And she would come home from work, and say, "Do not disturb me." She would do it in the morning and in the evening. The morning wasn't as much of an
right.
issue because either
Yeah,
we were still asleep or we were getting dressed and
right,
whatever. But in the evening, we're now seeing mom. We want mom's attention, mom this, mom that, mom. And
right.
she would say, "I'm going to meditate. I'll be back in 10 minutes." And she
20
closed
minutes.
the door. 20 minutes. 20 minutes felt like an hour.
Right.
And she said, unless the house is on fire, do not. And I believe me, I tested all of the ways of what would be acceptable. And I learned that this was a boundary for her. Don't cross it. That she was not going to respond.
Yes.
And also, she taught us, if someone calls and they want to talk to me, what do you tell them? We tell them that you're meditating and you
Right.
will call them back. This was when back in the day when we had a house phone. There wasn't cell. It was one house phone, with the long curly cord. And so people would call and say, "May I speak to her name was Jackie back then? May I speak to Jacqueline? She's meditating, and she said she'll call you back." They said, "She's what?"
Right.
This was like 1983, right? She's
Yeah.
what? She's meditating, but mom had a stressful job working on Capitol Hill
Yeah.
because she had her Ann Taylor outfits and her pumps only. I never saw my mother wear flats until I don't know how old. I probably was in high school. So she would pick us up from wherever, or we were older. Sometimes we were at home already. And I'm going to meditate. Do your homework, watch TV, do whatever. I don't care, but do not open this door
Yes.
until I will come out when I'm done. And sometimes I'd be like, it's 20 minutes.
I know. That was
And she
Jamila.
would not respond until I learned there's nothing I can do to get a response unless the house is on fire, and I'm not willing to take that risk of making up that story.
Right. No. But this is just my story, of the call to rest, and really responding to listen to your body, really learn in your 40s now. what your body is asking of you and give it that. Please,
Yes.
like Jamila said, she moved to Barbados. Her body and heart and her spirit, that's what was calling her. And she gave herself that.
Mhm.
Figure out, sometimes you can't move to Barbados maybe, but there are other ways that you can respond to what your
Yes.
body. Her living in Barbados was Jamila's restless resistance. I mean,
It was.
she was able to live a lifestyle that gave her that.
Yes.
So we have to
I
figure.
also want to say I didn't just up and move to Barbados. My journey took me
Right.
from DC area, from Maryland to
Yes.
South Carolina to New Orleans, back to Maryland, and then to Barbados because I told God I wanted to live on that island, and God sent me to St. Helena Island, and that's a whole other story. But I was mad about it. So that's another story. But I did it anyway. I was given a spiritual instruction. I didn't like it, but I still did it. And sometimes we think we're just going to go from A to Z, and sometimes we have to go from A to B and B to C to D to get to Z. And it's okay if it's not one step, because there's this Instagram version of manifesting and creating your life that they show the final product, which sometimes ain't even true, the final result, and they don't show how they got there or what they had to do to get there and how they had to trust to get there and how they had to not people please to get there, because there's no way that you can be absolutely true to yourself and to your womb space and also people please.
Right.
There's someone who's going to be upset about what you choose no
Yeah.
matter what you choose. You can choose to go this way, they'll be upset. You can choose to go that way, be upset. You can choose to stay where you are, somebody's gonna be upset. So living with intention and people pleasing are not aligned. You're gonna have to give up one or the other. Whether, for me it was Barbados, and you may not even need to move, but it might be something else in your life. It might be a career choice. It might be a decision about how you're going to raise your children. It might be about leaving a relationship or starting one that other people don't approve of, or somebody doesn't approve of. They don't even have to be present, but their voice can be programmed into your head from your upbringing or from whatever, where they don't have to be present, but the little recording says, oh, we don't do that kind of thing, or that's not practical, or what are people going to think, or you're not enough, whatever the voices say, right? Speaking of which, shameless plug for my book, A Year of Self Love Journal, 52 weeks of prompts and practices for loving who you are, available at all major book outlets, Amazon, Target, Walmart, all the places we're boycotting, and your favorite local indie bookstore. Give them your money, your Black owned bookstore. If they don't have it on the shelf, they will order it for you. So we talk about in my book the how do you love yourself enough so that the people pleasing and other things, the doubts that come up, are not a distraction from your heart, both of your hearts, your heart, your second heart, or your first heart, your womb heart. So I meant to, I put it on the screen, but Jamila and Hilton Head at Four Seasons Apothecary said, when I was talking about mom said, I'm meditating, don't open the door. She said, when she came to visit you, you told her the same thing. So this was more recently. Like, I'm going to meditate now. Deuces. People think you're playing.
No play. No
Mom
play.
don't play about her sleep, her
No.
meditating, her going to the beach almost every day.
And
Those are her self-care practices.
even when my children were little, and this is just me following my body because I really didn't know the reasons. But remember, Jamila, I would have, when they were in college and they'd come home, I said, come in the bed with me if you want to talk to me. Because I'm in the bed at 8 o'clock at night. And I was like,
In the bed by 8 p.m.
if you
In
want to talk,
the bed.
because I'm sensitive. I am a sensitive and I get up early. So I just went to bed. And if you want to hang out with me, you just have to come to bed with me. So that again was a way that I learned what I learned about myself and what I needed to do for myself. And if you want to visit with me, you come to where I am, and that's in the bed. So, yeah, you listen, you tune in. What is going to make me feel well? What's going to make me feel better? What's going to make me feel happier and more joyful? And let me figure out how I'm going to do that. Even with my four little children, even with my my grumpy husband, who I adore, but he's a grump. but you will need to. I Okay, so I saw yesterday just a clip, I guess, on Facebook of an interview with I can't remember her name. She's on, well, there's a star, and she was in Dreamgirls, and now she's on TV on that.
Jennifer Hudson?
Well, it's Jennifer Hudson's show, and
Oh,
she
oh,
was
the show.
she was interviewing the woman who is on that Emmy Award show about the school, the teachers in the school, the black kids and the
Oh,
black kids.
yes. Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
Oh,
So
what's her name?
the
It
older
starts
one,
with Q.
the older one.
Keita Benson. What's her name?
No, the one who won the Emmy and
Oh,
won
you know I didn't watch the
the
Emmys. You
one
know,
that was in Dreamgirls, the one that was
okay.
in, yes,
The one that's in Dreamgirls. Y'all, somebody I know somebody knows. Put it in the chat. But go
yes.
ahead, Mom. What were you
I can't
saying?
remember her name, but she was
Oh,
sharing
Cheryl
about,
Lee Ralph. Yes, yes,
yes,
yes. Cheryl Lee Ralph.
she's
It's
been
my
married.
co Cheryl Lee Ralph. Hey, Karen and Ruth. Y'all were quick with that response.
She's been married for 25 years. She and her husband do not live in the same home. They never
Hmm.
have. They live in
Hmm.
two different cities, two different homes. That works for
I
them.
love that idea.
I do too. I love that idea. He lives in Philly. She said he would not be able to live outside of Philly. That's where he lives. That's where he thrives. She lives in LA. And she said, we have the best marriage, the best relationship. So she figured out what her womb space needed, and she helped him in supporting him in having the life that he needed, and they could have it together. So that's the point. It doesn't have to look like what everybody else is trying to look like at
Right.
all.
And it doesn't even have to be something you've seen yourself. And I think
Yes,
that's the piece that a lot of people miss about what it means to trust your heart, what it means to trust your inner knowing, what it means to trust your womb space
yes,
is you may not have seen this before, especially if you're a visionary. You may not have seen it before. So you still have to trust it, even if the only place you see it is in your mind's eye or in your womb space. Just because there's no examples of it doesn't mean that it's not right for you.
right. That's it. That's it right there. That's your creativity. That's the capacity of your womb space to create what appears to be impossible or not possible. When
Mhm.
the clearer your womb space gets, and that's another thing when I want to talk about people who think they're not intuitive,
Oh
or
gosh.
I
Yes.
know,
Let's
or
go.
those, I can't get messages. I don't can't get my own. You can. Everybody can get their message, but
Yep.
the womb space clearing is one thing. Some people are born more intuitive. Jamila.
Hey, you went off the screen. Come back. Come back. I don't know what happened. Come back on, Mom. So while she's coming on, she's we want to talk. I want to remind you all because if you just joined the chat, I am talking with my mom, Master Healer, Master Teacher Ifetayo White. We're talking about the importance and the power of your womb space. Oh, she's back. Look at that glow. She's back. And we're talking about the power of the womb space. So if you are here and you're getting something from this, whether you're watching live or on the replay, I want you to tag somebody else that needs to be here, tag them in the comments, or click that share button right now and send it via DM, private messenger, direct message, or put it on your page, something, because somebody else that you know needs to hear this medicine, whether they go to my mom's, virtual womb retreat or not. um, so anyway, mom is back, and you were saying about people feeling like they're not intuitive and can't get the message. But what were you about to say?
Well, of course, some people are born with a highly developed intuition, but everyone has intuition, and it lives in your womb space. That's where your gut. It's that gut feeling, my gut, and that's where messages are real. We can receive messages from outside, but those hits coming from inside of ourselves.
Mhm.
So the clearer our womb space becomes, for those of us who are just not naturally highly intuitive and empathic, we can clear the as we clear our womb space, the clarity of the message, the clarity of the direction, the clarity of the intuition, even for readers and those who are professional, they will have clearer messages because sometimes their messages are influenced by their own womb space, by what's in them. So that's another reason. There's so
Ooh,
many
this is
reasons.
good. Because this is right up my alley with what I teach about
Yes,
with with not just developing your intuition, which is a small part, but trusting the intuition that you have, and also being an energy sensitive person and manage how to manage your energy sensitive vibes so that you're not overwhelmed. If you're that person that soaks up all the energy from
yes,
other people in the room and all that other stuff, sometimes not even realizing it. So what I'm going to be doing and adding to my teachings, I maybe just even invite you to come teach this part, is on the role of the womb space in the intuition. So look for that, y'all. Y'all heard it here first. I'm
and
going to be adding that teaching from mom, preferably directly from mom, into my other teachings.
can I
So
share one? I have
yes,
one little tidbit. I have a tidbit. This is
yes, I want a tidbit and a bit tid.
I'm going to say this. If you can feel into your sacral, into your womb space, if you can feel vibration on the left side, if you can feel, if that's where you have your tightness, if that's where you have this throbbing, if that's where your attention goes all the time, even your groin or your hip, your buttocks, anywhere on your left side in the sacral area, you are, and there is discomfort or imbalance, you are too open empathically
Ooh,
to, yes, this, and
ooh,
this is a part of what I do in the womb healing retreat, is working with, this is a fact, and you try it, test it out, and and see for yourself. Do I take in too much energy from other people? Am I too open and ready to give away, give away, give away? Your left side is probably dominant. You're probably left side dominant in your womb area. So, you know, test it for yourself, and send me a text and let me know what you found. If you're right side dominant, if you can feel, sit and feel, oh, this right side hurts, or it's jacked up, or my hip is higher, you're a right side dominant, which means you're probably not as empathic. Not that you might be, but there, the generally, that you are less empathic, you are more cerebral,
mhm.
and your way of being has a lot more to do with a masculine, more masculine, not male, but more masculine way of processing of being. I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and even the giving is from a place of I've got to do, for I've got to do, I got to do. So this is what we play with in this, in my womb healing retreat. But I want, this is a tidbit that I want us all to become intimate with our womb space enough to tell, am I too open in my sacral, in my empathic side of my sacral, and how, and I need to close it up, I need to contract it a bit, or I need to balance it more with the right side, so that I can still hold that empath, but I have this, the logic and the discernment coming from the right side of my of my womb space to balance it.
Yes. Okay. People's minds in the chat are blown. PJ said all her gynecological surgeries were on her left side. Sarah said always had the pain and discomfort on her left side. Tamara said I almost dropped my phone on that one. Like people have never heard this part about womb energy, womb healing, womb imbalance, and what the side means with respect to what part of your energy is out of balance. This is why y'all need to be in my mom's retreat. It's
Well,
not just gonna be like, oh, sip some womb herb tea and and lay down. It's gonna be some stuff.
yeah,
It's gonna be some stuff, and you will feel it, even though it's virtual. You're gonna feel this healing.
yes, you
So
have
don't
to.
think that you're gonna go to this retreat from 5 to 8:30 and you're gonna be out in the club at 9 p.m. That's not how it's
No,
gonna go down.
that's why I made it
You're
in
gonna
the
be laid out.
that's why it's in the evening, so you can stay in that space for the rest of the evening. Don't be planning no birthday party out somewhere. I mean, if you have, you have. Some people have to go somewhere, maybe already made a plan. But the point is that once we have gone into this womb space, you want to stay there as long as you can to absorb and to let that healing percolate. Okay, give yourself that much time. So, if we talked about that, girlfriend.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and she was on the first womb space retreat, but the so yeah, the power of really knowing ourselves from our feminine, our femininity, from our female selves, from our womb self.
Mhm.
It's so powerful and it can heal everything. We can heal
Everything.
everything. Yeah.
Let me ask you this because I know we've been talking for like almost 2 hours. It's coming up on 2 hours. The
Oh,
time flies. Look, I know. Look at the time. Here, so I want to recap some things, and I also want people to have an opportunity for whether they're going to the one of your womb retreats or not, your womb healing retreats. There's people here who want to give you a love offering. I can feel it. They want to PayPal you. They want to Venmo you. They want to Cash App you. What is your Cash App for people who want to send you something because they just appreciate this call. They don't have to, but I know some. I know they're going to text me and ask, so I'm just going to put it on the screen.
yeah.
What is your Cash App or your Venmo? Do you know it offhand?
Of course.
Of
I'm a
course,
businesswoman.
you're a business woman.
Uh, so
Okay, so what is it?
my cash app is $ Nisa Moon.
Okay, I'm about to put it on the screen.
Yeah.
What about Venmo? Do you have
Yeah.
Venmo?
Venmo is at the at sign Nisa Moon.
Okay. Okay, I'm about to put this on the screen.
Okay.
Do you? What is your PayPal? Is it Ifetayo White?
Ifetayo White. Or I think it's Nisa Moon at gmail.com. I think it's my email. Or Ifetayo White will work. And
It is. I made the link earlier, so I remember that. Okay.
and Zelle is the same. You can find me on Zelle with my name or my email address or my phone number.
Okay. So I'm putting this on the screen now for people who want to, um, who do want to send you a gift, where you can send it. I will put it in the chat. A lot of people are in the chat talking about left versus right.
Well, this, we could have a whole workshop on this.
Yeah. And
I would
ages
love to have,
alternating sides. Like
yeah,
for people with those questions, y'all need to come to the womb healing retreat. It's only $85. And there's the one tomorrow, which is not last minute, but y'all are just hearing about it. That's for women of color. There's a couple spots left for that. And then there's the main one, big one on February 22nd. Both are Saturday, both are 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And how do you register? Once again, I'm gonna tell you how you register. You're not gonna text me and you're not gonna call my mama. You're gonna go to this address that's on the screen, bit.ly, Ife Womb Retreat. Some people are registered. So, okay, if you registered, I'm just curious because I can't see mom's registrations. Put that in the chat. Just let me know. I want to see who registered. But also, okay, please put in the chat as we are wrapping up. What is your big takeaway from from today? What did you learn? What's the biggest thing that you learned? It might be multiple things, but what are your big takeaways from today? Tamara said left Twix, right Twix, like the commercial. Yep. Put in the chat, and I'll put mom's love offering stuff back up because she just spent 2 hours in this. I'm gonna call this one a live stream. This was a master class.
well,
Karen registered for tomorrow. Adrian is registered for 22nd. Yes. Awesome. Okay. I know there were some other people who were on the chat because they posted that earlier. All right. So I want to hear what's your takeaway from today. We still have 55 people on this call between Facebook and after 2 hours between Facebook and YouTube. So please put a heart on this video if you liked it or a thumbs up. Faith says her takeaway is she's too open empathically. It explains a lot. Karen says the need for a womb, I think she means womb clearing, is mind blowing. And Jay Ifun said the womb can heal everything. Yes. Yeah, if you're trying to heal something else in your body,
Yes.
start with the womb too.
Yes.
Start with the womb too. Mom, if you have one last thing, if people don't remember anything else, um, what would you like for somebody to remember as they leave here today?
Oh my God. Well, you just said it, Jamila. Start with the womb. If you start with the womb, you can begin the healing of every place in your body as you clear up the root cause. Remember, the root cause is what is behind all of our illnesses and diseases. I mean, and God, there's something else that just came to my mind, but it's a long conversation, but it takes place on the retreat.
Yeah.
We all we all have a true self. We all have an essence. And in that true self, there is no imbalance. So, and in our womb space, in our hara, that is the biggest part in us that carries this, where we are one with the source, one with healing. That's where our ashe lives. That's where our medicine lives. Go there, go there, and then let that inform you. Let your womb inform you of where else to go. You'll get a hit. You'll get direction. But if you do nothing else, like Jamila said, I love that. Go there first, and then call Ifetayo. Don't call me.
And then call
Text me.
Ifetayo. Yes, I
Text me.
just put on the screen all these people sharing their beautiful takeaways that the healing never stops and enjoy the journey, that the womb space can heal anything, that the power of the nap, that someone said takeaway. PJ said, I need a mama Ifetayo in my life. That's the takeaway. Takeaway, I need to cultivate a relationship with my womb, and apparently I have way more power than I originally thunk. Uh, Takeaway, confirmation that I tend to be cerebral for sure and inspired to honor the importance of the womb. Amazing. Takeaway that the 40s is a decade of rest, becoming a self care siren. Oh, this is really beautiful, y'all. I thank you all so much for joining us in this masterclass, amazing masterclass with my mom. Now you see why I wanted to share her with you all. And for me, that represents growth because I used to like sharing my mom because I had to share her with so many people because she's everybody's mom. And it took me, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to not just accept it, but to appreciate that. If you need this mother wisdom, grandmother wisdom, elder wisdom in your life, there are so many different ways that you can work with mom. You can come to her womb healing retreat. You can sign up or request in person or virtual Reiki treatment. You can. My mom also does life coaching on a one-on-one basis as well. So you can also text her, not call, or email her if that's something that you're also interested in. Some more takeaways: the power, the history, and cradling of the womb. Thank you so much. There's so much thank yous and appreciation here in the chat. Ruth says thank you. Adrian says thank you to both of you. Um, Nicole says thank you. Love you both so much. Sonia says, Sonia's Howard University, my sword. Thank you for your amazing mom. Karen says, thank you. So thank you all for being open, for being so aligned with yourself that you saw, received, and had the ability to come on this live stream, whether it's here live or on the recording. Thank you for trusting me to bring you um, some different perspectives and some wisdom through these different amazing people, including my mom. And LaShannon said, this was such a blessing to my soul. Thank you. PJ says, thank you. This is the medicine I needed. Laura said, thank you both so much. Kristen said, thank you for being here tonight. All the thank you, so many in the chat. And if I missed your message, I apologize. And mom, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from in the other room because we're actually in the same house right now. Did y'all know that? I'm at mom's. So, but it was easier to do this live stream with two separate cameras and laptops. And I just, and for everyone who shared this live stream with even one other person. Thank you for everyone who tagged someone, everyone who posted a comment and helped engage in this. For everyone who spread the word, and we all are so grateful to you, Mom. We are so grateful
Thank you. Thank
for your wisdom, your generosity, and how you share, your generosity, and how you just collect up people and just love them, just love, love, love all over them, and always have. And thank you for being the light in my life. And thank
you.
you for not telling all my business.
There's business to tell, y'all. There's business to tell.
Oh, by the way, y'all, type a 3 in the chat because me and Mom have been discussing this off and on off camera before. One day we might do a live stream or some teaching around raising intuitive children
Yeah.
because I was the intuitive child, and so was she, and she's also the intuitive mom. And we were talking about doing something like that together. So whether you are a parent, grandparent, or part of a village that has intuitive children with the intuitive gifts, and that's almost everybody because I don't think there's any new souls left. These are these old souls in these little children's bodies. And so for if that's something that you're interested in, put a 3 in the chat. I just want to see something. Oh, Veronica was in here, Rika's in here. Oh, Lashana said 333.
What is 333?
She's like times 3, like
Oh,
extra
oh,
3s.
okay.
Yes, all these threes, all these threes. Okay, lots of threes, lots of threes. Okay, yeah, lots of threes. All right. So I don't want to hold you anymore. Mom is usually in bed by 8 o'clock. It's past 9 o'clock now, and she sacrificed her live viewing of Jeopardy in order to be with us tonight. That's another thing my mom don't play about. Her meditation time, her sleep, going to the beach, and watching Jeopardy. Now she'll watch it on the recording, but everybody knows at 7 o'clock, don't be calling her. I mean, at 7:30 p.m. because she's watching Jeopardy. So, because that's one of the things that brings her joy, and she don't really care what y'all think. I
Right.
love you so much. I love all of you on this call and beyond. If this blessed you, if this helped you, if you learned something, please take the link and share it with somebody else because I guarantee you, you have a sister in your circle who needed to hear what was shared tonight because it will help her. Whether she's comes to the retreat or something that was said tonight will awaken something in her that will help her on her healing journey, and it will help her to create a life that she loves. There is wisdom here, 80 years of wisdom being shared here tonight, and not just 80 years of life, but 80 years, the majority of which is joyful on a level that I don't see often. And even though she's my mom, I can tell you that most 80-year-olds are not walking in joy and vitality. Right. So you hear it. You hear it here first. You hear it here. I love you all. Thank you so much. And if you liked it, you can watch it again on the replay as soon as this is over. Have a great evening. And thank you so much, Mom.
Thank you so much, Jamila, for inviting me into this
I
space.
love you.
I love you. Thank you, all my sisters and daughters and mamas on the call. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you for
Yes. Have
coming.
a good evening, everybody. Thank
Good
you
night.
so much.
Bye, Sydney. Good night, Sydney.
Good
Good
night, Sydney.
night, Lawana, our cousin. Good night,
Oh,
Mama Moot, my sister.
yes.
Good night.
Yes. Everybody's saying good night. Okay. So I'm going to end it now. We're going to go offline. But everybody's clear how to reach my mom?
Yeah.
I'll put on the screen one last time. That's how you register. This URL here, and this is her website. This URL here. Yes, the M is not on the end, and that's intentional. Love you all. Good night.
Night.